Listen to The Secret Garden, a Father Brown mystery story by G.K. Chesterton. Level A2. Oxford Reading University.
You will find Part 1 in the description and on our channel. Part 2.
Suddenly, Father Brown spoke. "Mr. Brain's cigarette must be very long. He is taking a lot of time to finish it." Valentin ordered Ivan to bring Mr. Brain at once. When the servant left, the detective asked Margaret, "Thank you for telling us the true story. However, you didn't go back into the house together with Commandant O'Brien. I know that from your father. So he had the time to kill the man before Lord Galloway entered the garden." At that moment, Ivan came back. "Mr. Brain has left the house, sir," he said. Valentin cried out and rose to his feet. "He took his hat and coat," the servant continued. "I ran outside to look for any traces, and I found one. Quite a big one, actually." With these words, Ivan showed the group a long sword with some blood on it. He found it 50 yards up the road to Paris. Perhaps Mr. Brain threw it away before he left. Valentin took the sword, looked at it carefully, then returned it to O'Brien. "I hope that you will give this sword to the police if they ask for it," he added. By the morning, everyone felt a bit better. Now it was certain that there was no criminal among them. It was not necessary to solve the mystery anymore. The criminal was an American millionaire that nobody knew well. "I think the case is completely clear now," O'Brien said, sitting down next to Dr. Simon. "Brain hated that man for some reason, so he led him into the garden, killed him with my sword, then escaped. Also, Ivan said that the dead man had an American dollar in his pocket. I think it only supports my theory. But there are 5 enormous difficulties," the doctor replied. "First of all, why kill a man with a sword when you can use a knife and put it back into your pocket? Second, why didn't we hear any noise? It is hard not to notice when someone is coming toward you with a huge sword. Then, a servant was watching the front door all evening. Even a rat cannot get into Valentin's garden. How did a man get in? And how did Brain get out so easily? Finally, I found some cuts on the body. I think they appeared after the head was taken off. Did Brain hate the man so much that he wanted to cut him into pieces?" "So you think Brain didn't do it?" O'Brien asked. "Not at all. I am sure he did it. The question is, how exactly?" At that moment, the men saw Father Brown coming toward them. "I am afraid I have bad news," he said. "Another man has been killed. His head was found in the river. You must come to the library and see it." At once, the 3 men went to the library. The second head lay on the table. It belonged to an ugly old man. It was all covered in blood, perhaps from beating against the stones and trees in the water. Father Brown went to take a closer look at it. "Good morning, Commandant O'Brien," Valentin said. "I suppose you have already heard of Brain's new cruel experiment?" "I don't think Brain did it," Father Brown said without looking up. "Can a man cut his own head off?" The doctor jumped forward and moved the wet hair off the dead man's face. Indeed, the head belonged to Mr. Brain himself. Father Brown noticed a scar on his left ear. That was how he recognized the man. "You seem to know a lot about Mr. Brain," Valentin commented. "I do," the priest replied, looking up. I have known him for some time. He wanted to join our church." Valentin's eyes lit up. He took a step toward Father Brown. "Maybe he was thinking of giving all his money to your church, too?" he asked. "It is possible," the priest replied with an unchanging expression. Valentin asked the guests to stay in the house. Then he went to his study to write a letter to the police. When he left, the doctor asked Ivan, "Is there any more news?" "One important thing, sir," the servant replied. "We have learned who the first man was. His name was Arnold Becker, and he was a criminal. Once he had an argument with Brain. He also had a twin brother named Louis. Recently, the police caught him and sent him to prison. And yesterday he was punished by death. His head was cut off. This is why I was so surprised when I saw the man's face. For a moment, I forgot that Louis had a twin." Ivan stopped because nobody was listening. O'Brien and Dr. Simon were looking at Father Brown. The priest stood with his head between his hands and an expression of pain on his face. "Stop talking for a minute," he cried. "I see half. God, help me see all of it." He stood like that for some time. Then he lifted his face. He looked fresh and serious. "Dr. Simon, I heard part of your conversation with Commandant O'Brien," he said. "You had 5 questions about the case, and if you ask them again, I can answer them all." Simon was so surprised that his glasses dropped from his nose. "First of all, why use a sword when you can easily kill a man with a knife?" he finally said. "Because you can't cut a head off with a knife," the priest explained. "And for this crime, cutting it off was absolutely necessary." "Secondly, why didn't the man cry out?" Dr. Simon continued. "Do you remember the small branches around the body?" the priest asked back. "They were in the middle of the garden, not under the trees. I guess the killer was showing some tricks to the dead man, like throwing a branch in the air and cutting it in half. When the man bent down to see the result, he lost his head." This whole time, Father Brown was looking out of the window thoughtfully. "That makes sense," the doctor said, "but the next 2 questions are much more difficult. How could a strange man get into this garden? And how could Mr. Brain leave it?" "There was no strange man in the garden," the priest replied without turning around, "and Brain never left, at least not completely." "Not completely?" Ivan suddenly laughed. "You mean that we didn't carry that fat dead man all the way from the garden and onto the sofa yesterday?" Dr. Simon became angry. He thought that Father Brown was ill. The priest's ideas didn't make any sense. "A man is either in the garden or outside the garden," he said. "I have no time for your stupid talk, Father Brown." "Doctor, we have always been great friends. Can you wait a minute and ask your last question?" the priest suggested nicely. "There were cuts on the body. I suppose the killer made them after the man's death," Dr. Simon said. "It was a trick. It made you believe that the head belonged to the body," was Father Brown's response. The priest finally turned around and stood against the window. Although his face was in the dark, everyone could see that it was white like snow. Then he spoke in a serious voice. "You don't know the man whose head you saw yesterday, but do you know this man?" He took Brain's wet head and put it close to the dead body. Indeed, it fit. Julius K. Brain lay in front of them, now whole. The killer cut off Brain's head and threw it over the wall, together with the sword, the priest explained. Then he used another head to confuse you, and he succeeded. Used another head? Repeated O'Brien. But heads don't grow on trees, do they? No, but they grow in the same place where criminals are put to death, Father Brown said. As you know, Aristide Valentin does what he can against the Church and all religions. He is publicly against the Church of France, and they hate him in return. When he learned that Brain wanted to join our church and give us his millions, he developed a plan to kill him. He is crazy. That is my only explanation. After Louis Becker was punished, he took the head with him in his official box. Then he killed Brain and used the head to confuse us all. Ivan jumped up. "He isn't crazy, you are," he shouted. "I am taking you to my master right now." "I was actually going there already," the priest replied politely. "I want to hear what he thinks about it." The four men ran into Valentin's study. It was strangely quiet. The great detective sat at his desk, very busy with his letter. They stopped for a moment. Then something in Valentin's straight, unmoving back made the doctor run forward. There was a box of pills next to the detective's body, and the man himself was dead in his chair.
English audiobooks, courses with your favorite movie heroes, awesome word games, and much more. The whole English classroom for your level in one place in the EWA app. There are thousands of English books you can read, grammar and vocabulary lessons with popular movie characters. Stop wasting your time. Go to appewa.com right now.
Support our free audiobooks. Hit the like button to help other English learners to see our videos. And now, listen to another English book.